You are about to embark on a show about 4 people who find themselves thrust into the backstories of pulp culture history. Join Christopher DeVos, J.L. Trost, Laura DeVos, and Sabrina Pierre as they poorly impersonate celebrities, drink a lot of beer, and answer very hard trivia questions. You are now listening to Podcast 42.
Why are we under house arrest again? Because I didn't do it. If anyone did it, it would be JL with those sneaky beady rat eyes of his.
I don't have rat eyes.
Oh, I bet you have rat eyes. If not in your head, in a jar somewhere. Probably in your pantry, next to the pickles.
She might have you there. You do have a lot of pickle jars.
I have an acceptable number of pickle jars. Thank you.
All right, guys. We aren't under house arrest, Sabrina. We're just going to interview Robert Downey Jr. at his house.
I thought we were going to drink with Tony Stark and ride out the quarantine with a Marvel movie marathon.
I love the Marvel movies. Don't get me wrong. But I'm a little burnt out. I'd rather do a Sherlock Holmes marathon.
Chris, that's only like 2 movies. It takes more than 2 movies to make a marathon.
Doesn't matter how many movies. I'll be asleep by the middle of the first one anyway.
Ooh, a nap. I love naps. Maybe he has multiple beds that we can sleep in while JL and Chris ask him a bunch of dumb questions.
Hey, if they're doing all the work, what am I going to do?
1, Laura, our questions will not be dumb, but highly intelligent, yet entertaining on like kiss-ass late-night talk shows. And 2, Sabrina, I already said I'm going to drink beer and watch all the Marvel movies and back to school.
Yeah, seems right. Can't go wrong with vintage Dangerfield.
Well, ladybugs.
Touche.
None of that helps me with what I'm going to do.
Well, maybe I can help with that.
Who said that?
I did. I already let Mr. Stark know you are here.
Don't you mean Mr. Downey?
Yeah, and besides, didn't Tony Stark die at the end of Endgame?
Whoa, spoiler alert. I would never spoil a movie for anyone. Chris, stop evil-eyeing me.
Inside note, she spoiled Endgame for me.
Guys, some of us still haven't seen that movie yet.
Well, stay away from Laura or go watch it on Disney+. It has been out for over a year now.
Listen, it's on my list right after I finish watching The Office for research for this very podcast, people.
Didn't you humanoids already release that episode?
Calm it down, Shadebot. Only we get to point out comical character flaws in the character Sabrina plays.
Yeah, only they get to point out comical character flaws in the character I play.
All right. Enough setup banter already. Can we just meet Mr. Stark? Like, maybe in this episode?
You mean Robert Downey Jr.?
That's what I said.
Yes, please come in and make yourself comfortable. There are drinks in the fridge and food on the table.
Oh, look, he has the little cocktail weenies.
I love little weenies.
That's what she said.
So immature. Besides, you should never point out a robot's little weenie.
You thought I was being immature?
I'm going to grab a beer. Anybody want one?
There's no beer in this house.
That's what you think.
JL beer cooler, it's cooler than you think. JL beer cooler, it's cool enough to drink. It's cool enough to drink, yeah.
So, now that we snuck some beer into Robert's house, what is it?
It's from Stone Brewery. It's the Tropic of Thunder Lager.
I see what you did there.
That's right.
You were saying something earlier before we started the show, how something about we may not like this one, or?
The aftertaste.
The aftertaste.
Usually Stone Brewery has a very strong aftertaste.
Because so far, I'm not giving it a bad review yet.
Give it time.
All right, well, stay tuned to the end of the episode. When we rate the beer, we use a rating system of 1 through 6, which represents a 6-pack. This makes sense to everybody in the world except for one lone Canadian in Kissimmee.
How did you do that?
Yes, Jarvis. I think we would all like to know that.
It's Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, it is.
It's really Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
It's really Sherlock Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Christopher.
It's really Dr. Doolittle!
Don't ever mention that movie again.
Sorry, she doesn't get out much.
She got out enough to see that stinker. So, what type of podcast are we doing on myself?
Well, it's a satirical biography with us just kind of, making up stuff as we go along.
We're really just going to make it all up.
Sounds about right. Let's get this thing started.
Would it be all right if I laid down on this really comfy couch when we did this?
Of course. Just be careful. I've taken plenty of naps on that couch. That couch is Peruvian leather and has been blessed by the ancient sleeping god of that nation. It costs a fortune.
Oh, I can see why. And it's pink, my favorite.
Well, I bought it from Pink.
I love pink. I'm so napping on it now.
Can I ask the first question? I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to ask the first question. But how did you get to be a junior?
My father is named Robert Downey as well, so that makes me a junior.
Whoa, that's so informative. I didn't know how that worked. I'm going to be Sabrina Jr. from now on.
That's not how that works, Sabrina.
That's not how that works, what?
What?
You know what.
Fine. That's not how that works, Sabrina Jr.
Thank you.
Well, this is off to a great start. Why don't we end this now, and I'll have Jarvis bring you folks a cheese and cracker plate, and then you can be on your way.
Oh, can I ask the second question? I mean, it doesn't matter because I'm going to ask the second question. What makes you an actor?
I guess not. And is she serious?
Yeah, but you don't have to answer that.
But I really want to know.
Sabrina, he performs as different characters on stage and film. That's what makes him an actor.
Precisely. Thank you for answering that. The sleepy one seems to be the most attentive.
Well, that doesn't sound very interesting when you say it like that.
How is she supposed to say it?
Like Wikipedia. He becomes who he is playing at all times, acting out his role in everything he does. Hence, he becomes the role in mind, body, and soul. He is no longer playing the part, but he has become the part.
Very method of you, Sabrina.
Very method of you. What?
Very method of you, Sabrina Jr.
Thank you. Acting.
Can we please just get back to the interview we came here to do? Also, didn't you mention a cheese plate?
I did, with summer sausage on it.
Excuse me, Laura. You can interview me if you like.
Great. The AI butler wants to be interviewed now. Jarvis, if we have time after Robert's interview, then we'll talk. Right now, there should be a cheese plate coming, and hold the summer sausage.
That's what she said.
Got you back.
What kind of crackers are on it?
Oh, I hope it's not Cheez-Its. I like butter crackers.
Good call.
Right. Got it. Please continue the interrogation of my maker.
Yes, please, continue the interrogation of me. You can't see it podcast world, but I have my legs crossed in a very Robert Downey Jr. way.
Oh, it's not an interrogation, but more of an informal session discussed as storytelling.
Then let me begin.
Finally.
Now, this is a story all about how some drugs turned my life upside down, and I'd like to take a minute as you sit right there and tell you how I came back as the king of the Marvel heirs.
Nice wordplay.
Shoot some b-ball outside
No, Chris, no.
school.
No.
But I
No.
I love singing random song lyrics. It's my thing.
I know, but it shouldn't be.
So, back to me. I was born into an acting family. My father, Robert Downey Sr., was an actor and filmmaker. My mother was an actress who appeared in a few of my father's films.
Oh, a family business. My family had a business, but it wasn't as good as that. My dad was a door-to-door salesman who specialized in ice cream scoops that were different shapes. Some shapes were big sellers like the star and the moon ones, but most like the circle just didn't sell.
Aren't most ice cream scoops circular?
Oh, yeah, but Dad's had a hole in the middle, so the ice cream would, like, plop out. It would even make the noise when it passed through the scoop.
I'm not sure what's happening here.
Oh, don't worry about it. Most of her stories are like this. She's the modern-day version of Rose Nyland.
Oh, gotcha. By the way, Sabrina Jr., drugs are bad, and speaking of drugs, I used to do drugs.
Oh, we know.
No, I mean I used to do a lot of drugs.
Oh, we know. Everyone knows, actually.
Like I was high the moment I woke up, until I finally passed out again that night.
Smoke on the water.
That was the first drug I did. I smoked my first joint when I was 6 years old. My dad thought it would be a good idea for me to try it.
Well, at 6, I was just thinking about what Barbie I wanted next.
I just wanted a new Transformer.
I was just hoping to get rid of the training wheels on my bike.
Sabrina Jr., the training wheels came off quick for me. I started doing drugs with my dad in a weird father-son bonding moment. It was a connection of love and abuse. It would later send me spiraling down in ways that I would never be prepared for.
Drugs are bad, Mr. Hat.
My father regretted it later on, but the damage was already done.
So after your father got you started using drugs, when did you decide to become an actor?
It's the family business, Laura. I'm sure he was born into it.
Like being a door-to-door ice cream scoop salesman.
Yes, and in a way, my dad gave me the scoop with the hole in the middle of it.
Oh, that's deep.
I acted in my first movie when I was 5. I played a puppy.
Aww.
I know. It wasn't until I dropped out of high school that I started to consider acting as a real career choice.
So you moved to California to get that film career started?
No, I was going to school in California at the time.
Well, at least you didn't have far to go. You only had to go up the road to start making movies.
I moved to New York City after dropping out and hoped to make it there.
Yeah, makes sense to me. If you can't make it there, you can't make it anywhere.
New York, New York, da 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 da.
Chris, you do realize no one is going to do a kick line with you.
Oh, I will.
Looks like fun. Count me in.
What the hey? Count me in too.
So be careful not to throw your hip out again. Also, don't kick the cheese plate.
Right. I'll sit this one out.
You're lost.
Squirrel!
Topic.
I don't get it.
They're easily distracted, sir. Like that dog in Up.
So, does that mean one of them has to wear the cone of shame?
Maybe, sir. Let me get it prepared just in case. I have listened to 71 episodes of this show. This is about the par for the course.
You have a cone of shame?
I have 3 dogs. Of course I do.
That was fun. So tired. So Robert, when did your career start to take off?
I went to New York, like I said. Started performing whatever I could. I took roles on and off Broadway just to pay the bills. It wasn't until I performed in the short-lived musical American Passion, which was produced by Norman Lear, that I finally got noticed.
Finally getting the attention you deserve.
I know. Becoming the Hollywood megastar you were meant to be.
It helped get me some supporting roles in a few movies. Weird Science was a huge break for me and helped get me more attention. I joined Saturday Night Live in 1985 as part of the new, younger cast, which was going to make me an even bigger star.
Too bad you're considered as one of, if not the worst cast member ever on Saturday Night Live.
On paper, it should have worked. Joan Cusack, Michael McKean, Randy Quaid. Besides, I was not the worst cast member on the show. I mean, have you seen Anthony Michael Hall or Joe Piscopo?
Actually, Joe Piscopo's run was really good. It was when he left the show that his career started to tailspin.
Regardless, I am and forever will be a better actor than Joe Piscopo.
Sir, you have another visitor.
Who is it? Never mind. Just let them in.
I heard you bad-mouthing me again. I just shut up on steroids if you're wondering why I talk like this. I warned you about that, Downey, and I was better SNL cast member than you. And if you think I'm a bad actor, go watch Johnny Dangerously and tell me otherwise.
Coin, coin, coin.
I only have 3 character voices that I rotate. Coin, coin,
Coin, coin,
and that is one of them. The other one's Grover, and the other one's
Which,
Emo Phillips.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't emo Philip.
I wasn't bad-mouthing you, and I have seen that movie. You were mediocre at best, and your performance in Sidekicks is just as bad.
I think those are the only movies he ever made.
I made more, but they're too highbrow for this crowd. Stop trash talking and leave me out of your biased biography.
No problem. I'll stop talking about you if you promise to never make another movie again.
Deal. Already did it 6 years ago.
Well, thank you for stopping by, Mr. Piscopo. Have a good day.
Deuces, suckers!
he seemed nice. Did you know he had an uncredited role in 1976's King Kong? Anyway, you guys seem like good friends.
Sure. Friends. When you've been in this business as long as I have, you're bound to make a few enemies along the way.
Any other enemies we need to know about?
Not that I can think of, but I'm sure they'll pop up when I least suspect it.
Like the movie Clue? I love the movie Clue.
I wasn't in Clue.
But Michael McKean was.
Well, full circle on that combo.
What did you do after Saturday Night Live?
I bet you started more movies. Mostly in leading roles, too.
I did act in more movies. I also did a lot of drugs, mixed with a side of alcoholism.
Drugs, alcohol, and Hollywood. A deadly combination if it isn't managed well.
I managed it well, all right. I managed it so